can make a mark with anything with a broad edge, like for instance this lump of graphite I could do calligraphy with, or a piece of chalk on its side, or a piece of felt in a bulldog clip dipped in ink you can work with. Anything really that you can find. Piece of wooden veneer is quite good. Also, of course, brushes. I mean, you can do quite beautiful calligraphy, large scale of course, with that brush, or with a sable brush, or with there's another little cheap nylon brush. You can do very nice calligraphy with these. Most people, however, do their calligraphy with an ordinary pen with a nib, and I'll be talking about that towards the end of this video, so just put it aside for 1 minute. There are many different types of pen, many felt tip pens or fiber tip pens, good and bad. I recommend, of all of them, the Zig pens made by a Japanese company called Kuretake. They're far better than most of them. The Beryl are okay. The Edding are okay, but the ones with the wide nibs run out of ink very, very quickly. I've had students in my class who've used a whole pen up in a day. But they're quite a nice sharp nib. There's also many types of calligraphy fountain pens. This is the Rotring art pen with a calligraphic nib on it. It's okay, I don't use it very much. And this is the best of the fountain pens. It's called a Pilot parallel pen, and it's made quite differently. The nib is quite different to how most of the fountain pen manufacturers make their nibs. So the ink flow is much better than for this one, for instance. So I quite like these. The only limitation is that it has, I think, only 4 sizes. So that's that. There's also these pen sets that you can get. I don't recommend anything that looks fancy or in a presentation box, because it's bound to be rubbish. So avoid those. There's also these automatic pens, which are very nice. You just have to train them and they write all by themselves. Not really, but I don't know why they're called automatic pens. It baffles me. So this is a very old one, but you can still get them in various sizes for doing poster work. You know, they're really, it's a big one, isn't it? Do really nice poster work with them. So that's automatic pens. There's also, of course, bamboo pens and quills. Quills are still the best writing instruments. I may at some point do a tutorial on quill cutting and bamboo pen cutting. Bamboo pens are another option for you. Speaking of quills, this is a painting that was made of me recently. I'm quite flattered by it. It makes me look a lot younger than I actually am. Let's move on to nibs. Here are a couple of Mitchell's roundhand nibs. Mitchell's nibs, I think, are probably the most widely available nibs. Certainly they are in the UK. They're alright, I use them quite a bit, but they do have a bit of a problem sometimes with the edge of the nib being a little bit sharp, or a little bit of a burr on the corners. You quite often have to touch them onto a grindstone. You'll find something on that in another video. Also, they have a reservoir. You can buy a reservoir, I don't know if you can see that, which slips on the back. They're very fiddly. And again, you'll find that in my video on preparing a pen. These nibs need priming before you use them by dipping them in boiling water or treating them in a match flame. The next one I'm going to look at is Speedball, and Speedball are quite good. They're an American brand. I find them a bit sort of long. I don't know. They have an integral reservoir which sits on the top, and they're quite nice to write with. I quite like them. Speedball also produce what they call a metal brush, or a steel brush, I think they call it, and that is this, which is made up of tongues of steel. As far as imitation of a brush goes, I'm not sure whether they're any good. I think I'd prefer to use a proper brush made out of sable. So that's Mitchell's and Speedball. There's also Browser, which are probably my favourite nibs. They're a little bit hard. They're a German make. A little bit hard, and they've got a right hand oblique. I don't know if you can see the end of it there. It's a right hand oblique nib, which sort of helps to facilitate the pen angle for you. And these are okay. I think I prefer these of all of them. What else we got? This is a weird nib, isn't it? It's what's called a copper plate nib. And the reason is for this funny shape is because in order to write copper plate, you need to twist the pen round at quite a steep angle, and it's very difficult. It makes you have to bring your wrist right round. So this is an attempt to save us from having to twist our wrists round. Having said that, they are not very flexible. You have to put a lot of pressure on them in order to, you see, copper plate is made by pressure and release of a pointed nib, not like the chopped off calligraphy we're doing with, with a broad edge pen. So, and the other problem with them, I think, is that the radius of curve on the end of the pen here is quite a lot wider than any standard nib holder, and sometimes they're a bit difficult to get into a nib holder, I've found. The copper plate, you can also get a special nib holder which is angled. I won't go into it now, but if I do a series on copper plate at some point, I will go into it. There's also these pointed nibs which are used for various purposes. This can be used for copper plate. That's a mapping pen. For decoration and design, you need a pointed pen sometimes. That's that. And finally, this strange looking beast here is a, when it focuses, if it focuses, is a music pen nib. I wouldn't suggest that you buy one, because they're for doing fancy writing to impress your friends. I wouldn't suggest buying one because one of them will run out before the others. Always run out of ink. So if you actually want to do that sort of thing, which you might, then you can get this automatic. These are called automatic pens. I've never understood why they're called automatic. This will actually, see, you hold it like this, and do the same as you would with a broad nib. So you can write in 5 lines, and people will think you're clever. So you can use this in preference to this if you want to do that sort of thing. Okay, so that's pens and nibs for you. You can buy these and many more things on the internet through a mail order company. The one I use is called Blots Pens. That's www.blotspens.co.uk. They're based in the UK, and I've always found them very good, and the last order I had from them reached me in less than 24 hours. So I would recommend those, and I'm happy to give them a plug. So that's pens, and I'll see you in the next video.